From Lisbon, very early morning, we took a 2.5-hour drive south to Faro the next day. We planned a trip to the Algarve and first went to Faro. The reason for visiting this city was to meet my husband's friend. Faro was also a quiet city with the old charm of Portugal. We rendezvoused with a friend in Faro and had a great time catching up over coffee. She gave us a whirlwind tour of the city before we said our goodbyes, highlighting some of the history as we went. From Faro, we drove about 25 minutes west to Vilamoura, where our accommodation for the night was located. Before checking in, we looked for a place to have lunch nearby, but since it was Christmas Eve, most restaurants were closed. After some searching, we finally found a small local restaurant that was open. I can't remember its name. Hardly anyone spoke English, so we had to rely on gestures to place our order and receive our food. We ordered the dish of the day: octopus rice, grilled fish, and a sandwich. To our surprise, everything was incredibly delicious. The prices were also unbelievable, ranging from just €6 to €8. After our late lunch, we checked into Hilton Vilamoura as Cascada's golf resort and spa. Parking was free, and the facilities inside were even better than we had expected. Since it was around Christmas time, the hotel had a lovely festive atmosphere. We were lucky to be given a 2-bedroom suite. The accommodation was much more spacious, clean, and comfortable than we expected, so much so that I felt like I could live there. There was also a balcony, where we could enjoy a simple meal outside, and the view was lovely as well. The next morning, we enjoyed a delicious breakfast provided by the hotel. The weather was so nice that day, so we decided to take a leisurely stroll around Vilamoura. We walked about 40 minutes to Praia de Vilamoura beach. Along the way, we enjoyed the charming small restaurants, resorts, and local scenery, which made the walk even more pleasant. Once we reached the beach, we slowly made our way back to the hotel. The entire area of Vilamoura is peaceful and beautiful, so I highly recommend visiting. For lunch that day, since my son wanted Indian food, we went to United Kitchens of India, which was just a 5-minute drive away, a place he had found. Although we were in the southern part of Portugal, in Vilamoura, the Indian food was absolutely delicious, and we enjoyed every dish. For dinner that evening, we returned to the same restaurant where we had enjoyed a delicious lunch the day before. We had grilled fish and octopus rice with steak. My son complained about eating the same things again, but since it was Christmas Day and many places were closed, we decided to go back to this simple yet tasty spot. I tried searching for the restaurant's name on Google Maps, but it seems hard to find now, so perhaps it has closed down. However, it seems that there are many local Portuguese restaurants with this kind of style in the area. In the evening, we bought snacks and drinks, including beer, and spent the rest of the time chatting and enjoying family time at the hotel. It was a perfect way to end the day. The next morning, we had our second hotel breakfast, checked out, and drove 20 minutes west to Albufeira. In Albufeira, we parked at Estacionamento Albufeira P1 Telpark by Park. As soon as we exited the parking lot, we were greeted with this view. We walked for about 7 minutes from Miradoro do Pau de Bandeira to Albufeira Old Town. The Old Town's charming corners and historic features were beautiful to explore. After exploring Albufeira, we headed west to Lagos, where our next accommodation was. Since it was time for a late lunch, we went straight to a restaurant in Lagos. In Lagos, we had lunch at a local spot called Casa do Prego, where the food was both unique and delicious. After our late lunch, we checked into Belmar Spa and Beach Resort, which was just a 5-minute drive away. The reason I chose this accommodation in Lagos was that, despite its spacious size and amenities, including a kitchen, it was a great deal at just $185 for 2 nights on Expedia.com. After checking in, we drove 6 minutes to Ponta de Piedade, a famous spot in Lagos. By the time we arrived, the sun was beginning to set. The scenery was unique and beautiful. It's definitely a place worth visiting at least once. On our first evening in Lagos, we bought food from a nearby supermarket and enjoyed a nice meal in our hotel room. It was convenient since the room had a kitchen and dishes. The bread in Portugal was so delicious that we ended up buying and eating it several times a day. The next day, we went to Tarouga Banajal Tours, Banajal, which we had booked in advance. This was one of the main reasons we planned our trip to the Algarve region in southern Portugal. This tour is highly popular on TripAdvisor and definitely worth doing. To get there, just search for Tarouga Banajal Tours, Banajal on Google Maps, and the location will appear. You can park your car along the nearby streets. The boat departs from Banajal Beach. During the tour, you get to explore the fascinating sea caves and rock formations created along the coastline. The beautiful sea colors, sunlight, and caves all convey the stunning beauty of nature. At the iconic Benadryl Cave, you can also take photos to capture the moment. You get to admire rocks shaped like fascinating animals, and the tour ends with an exciting boat ride, making for a thrilling conclusion. It's no wonder this tour is so popular. Be sure to book in advance. The next day was our last day in Lagos. For lunch, we drove 6 minutes to Restaurante dos Artistas. This restaurant is a Michelin Guide-listed restaurant, and was very kind. Every dish that was served was absolutely delicious. After lunch, we took a short walk around Lagos city center. It didn't seem to have much distinctive character. After returning to the hotel, we spent a relaxing time at the Porto Mos beach near the hotel on our last day. We bought some food from a supermarket, had dinner, and then relaxed in the room. Early the next morning, we left Lagos and headed back to Porto. We initially wanted to eat at Churrascaria Roxa, known for its traditional Portuguese cuisine and signature dish, leitão à beirada. However, due to the long wait, we decided to go instead to a nearby restaurant called Burguesia do Leitão. We found this place by chance, and the food was plentiful and quite good. They served roast suckling pig, but it wasn't our favorite. After lunch, we drove for about another hour and arrived at our final accommodation, Holiday Inn Express Porto Exponor. For our last dinner in Portugal, we ate at an Indian restaurant near the hotel. After having Portuguese food so often, we eventually found ourselves craving and returning to the Asian flavors we love. The next day, after an incredible 11-day trip to Portugal, we traveled back to Washington, D.C. with a stopover in Frankfurt. The weather in Porto and Lisbon wasn't great, but the Algarve region in southern Portugal had fantastic weather in every city we visited. If you're traveling to Portugal in winter, spending time in the Algarve is highly recommended. Among all the places we visited, Vilamoura became our favorite city. If you're planning a vacation in southern Portugal, staying in Vilamoura as a base and taking short trips to nearby areas would be a great idea. Winters on the U.S. East Coast can be cold, so I couldn't help but imagine how wonderful it would be to spend a few months in Vilamoura's warm climate each winter. Moreover, the cost of living in southern Portugal is quite affordable, making both grocery shopping and dining out budget-friendly. Most importantly, the region is filled with delicious seafood and amazing local dishes, making every meal an enjoyable experience. And I highly recommend taking the Benadryl Cave boat tour. Even if you're not particularly into outdoor activities, you can still fully enjoy the stunning scenery and beautiful weather. It's a truly memorable experience.